working in the US. Many ways to work in the US. In this video, I'll talk about 10 ways that can actually help you work in the US. Okay, let's start with temporary workers, and then we'll go to permanent workers. But remember that there are many ways that you can find yourself working, or let's say you want to work but you don't know where to start. um, this video will give you at least some type of ideas on some type of visa available out there. It's not available for everybody, but some may resonate with you so that you can apply if you qualify, of course. As you can see, I'm just right here on the USCIS Citizenship and Immigration Services. So if you're looking for something as far as immigration is concerned, the first stop, really the first stop is to go to this website. It has a lot of information depending on what exactly you're looking for. Sometimes you can just enter your search here, the search area, and then search for what you're looking for. You will find something really, sometimes not self-explanatory. Maybe somebody has to explain that to you, but most of the time those things are self-explanatory. But just that if you want additional information really to find out your qualifications, that's when you call my office, 202-751-2180, and just know that consultation fees apply as usual. Okay, let's get right into it. So let's start with the common one, E2 visa, the E2 Treaty Investor Visa. This one, I've explained it before. I'm just gonna go very fast with this one. First, you have to find out whether your country qualifies. Okay, your country has to be part of the treaties that they made with the United States so that you can be part of the program when you apply for the E2 visa. And the way you find out is you just go here. You see, it says see U.S. Department of State treaty countries. It's going to give you a list, a current list of countries with which the United States maintains a treaty of commerce and navigation. So that's the first thing to know. Is my country of origin, like where I hold my nationality, are they part of this treaty? If they are, then you go to the next step. The next step is, do you have a substantial amount of money? It doesn't tell you exactly how much. It just says substantial investment. So do you have at least, let's say, $50,000? It works better with $100,000. But let's say if you have $50,000 and you have invested it already, because the other requirement is that money must be put at risk. You can't just hold it in the bank account. So, okay, let's go back. First requirement is to find out whether your country is part of the treaty. Okay, country with which the United States maintains a treaty of commerce and navigation. Second requirement is, do you have a substantial amount of money that you want to invest in? So if you have that, then where is the money? Did you put it in the already at risk, or do you just have it in your bank account? Because you have to put the money at risk. You can either invest it in an existing business, or you can create your own business and invest the money. This visa works well with students, especially international students. When they get here, most of them, not a lot of them, but some of them have money because that's why their parents sent them here to study. And sometimes they find themselves, they want to stay. So basically, this is the best option. When you have your OPT, you can actually open a business under the OPT. Remember, the business has to be related to the field of study, and you have to work for the business full-time, and so forth and so forth. There's a lot of requirements as well. Just refer back to my other videos for those. But anyway, it works well for those people as well, students. So that's a way to work. And then if you go here, really it gives you general qualification of a treaty investor. Okay, it says have invested or be actively in the process of investing a substantial amount of capital in a bona fide enterprise in the United States, and be seeking to enter the United States solely to develop and direct the investment enterprise. This is established by showing at least 50% of ownership of the enterprise or position or operation control through a managerial position or other corporate device. So I've talked about E2 visa before. I'll leave the link in the description box. Please go ahead and watch it and see if you qualify for E2 visa. And student, I've talked about how you can transition from your student visa to the E2 visa when you have your OPT. So go ahead and watch that video as well. So that's the common one, temporary worker. But remember, this E2 visa, the first time they will give you 2 years. Some people get 5 years at the first time, but they can give you 2 years, and they can renew it indefinitely as long as the business is still working, it's still under operation. Okay, that's the common one. Then we have this one too, E2CNMI investor. That's a little bit different from this one. You can go ahead and click on this to learn more, but I'm focusing on something that it's really common, most people use. Okay, and then we have this one, the E3, certain specialty occupation for professional from Australia. This is specific for people from Australia. Okay, so if you're from Australia, just try to find out whether you qualify for this visa. Okay, so please try to find out whether you qualify for this visa. And it says applying for an E3 visa from the United States, and it gives you the requirements, okay, and supporting documents. But this is especially for people from Australia with specific skills. Okay, so I'm gonna move on to the H1B visa. That's the common one. This one is basically if you have an employer who wants to sponsor you working in the United States. The way this one works is that the employer will petition for you, and it goes through the lottery process, and USCIS will find if you qualify, or if you're selected, sorry, then you can get your approval notice, and from there you start applying. But certain qualifications have to be met first on the side of the employer. They have to show that the Department of Labor that they couldn't find another qualified worker with those special skills, and they will be paying prevailing wages and so forth. So a lot of requirement. This is the most the common one, but it's the most complicated one, because there are a lot of requirements, and sometimes you might meet the qualification but you don't get selected. And if you don't get selected, don't get discouraged. Find out whether you're exempt from the cap, because there are certain people who do not need to go to the lottery process to get an H1B visa. Okay, find out whether you're exempt, or whether the company that you're working for is in fact exempt from the H1B cap. Okay, then we have H2A, agricultural workers. This is the one that they're trying to give people. Remember, with the Farm Workforce Modernization Act, they're trying to give certain workers really a pathway to citizenship, or a what they call is I guess a certified status if the bill passes, of course, if it passes the House and becomes law. But anyway, this is for people in the agriculture sector only, okay, who qualify. It says here, offer a job that is temporary or seasonal in nature, demonstrate that there are not enough U.S. workers are able, willing, qualified, and available to do the temporary work, show that the employing H-2A worker will not adversely affect the wages and working condition of similarly employed U.S. workers. Basically, the employer has to go through labor certification and show that they went through the process, that they try to find a worker qualified to do this job, but they didn't find somebody who was either qualified or willing to do this job. And then prevailing wages, meaning that type of money that they will pay them will not adversely affect the wages and working conditions of similarly employed U.S. workers. Okay, so this is just it goes through employment. But remember, the E2, you can do it yourself because it's based on the money that you have and the investment that you're making and the enterprise that you're creating or investing into. So E2 is like a self-sponsored type of worker visa. Okay, and then we have the E2B, non-agricultural workers, similarly, but this one is for non-agricultural workers, some other type of worker. And then we have the L1A, intercompany transferee, executive or manager. The way this one works is that you have a company overseas that have some I guess subsidiary here, and you want to do you work in as an executive or manager, and you want to come here, transfer here. So that's this one. Okay, this is the L1A, intra-company transferee, executive or manager. General qualifications, it's here. Have a qualifying relationship with a foreign company, parent company, branch, subsidiary, or affiliate, collectively referred as a qualifying organization, and currently be or will be doing business as an employer in the United States and in at least one or other country directly through qualification. So basically, you have to have a company where you're working and you either are an executive or a manager and you want to transfer to a parent company or a branch here in the United States. That's how this one works, okay? Because you have to be able to work in executive capacity or managerial capacity. This one is common as well, the L1A. This one, L1B, you have to have spatial knowledge. Remember, here it's just that you work in an executive capacity or managerial capacity. But this one, L1B, you actually have to have spatial knowledge. So that's why they're transferring you from that company to another company here in the US. Okay, you can click here for qualification. Spatial knowledge means either spatial knowledge possessed by an individual or the petitioner, organization, product, service, research, equipment, technique, management, or other interests and its application in international markets, or an advanced level of knowledge or expertise in the organization. So that's how they define spatial knowledge. You can check here, really read it. Then we have this one. This is common as well, the O1, individual with extraordinary ability. And this is a self-sponsored type of work. So basically, if you can prove that you have extraordinary ability in science, education, business, or athletics, that's for A1A. O1B is extraordinary ability in the art. O2, individual who will accompany an O1. So this is for somebody who works for the artist, they'll get the O2 visa to come here to perform. Okay, do you know how athletes they travel with like the trainers and stuff like that? All those people, then they'll get the O2. Okay, O3 is individual who are spouse or children of either O1 or O2. Okay, so pretty much you can read the application process here, how you can extend it if you have one. But remember, I've talked about extraordinary ability before, so you can refer back to the qualification for extraordinary ability, but under this one here for temporary worker, because remember, the one I talked about was like self-sponsored green card, but this one is just self-sponsored visa to temporarily work in the United States in your specific field, and it really gives you what type of field here, okay, and what type of category is going to be under O. So that's the it's common as well. And then we have P1A internationally recognized athlete. They can take this one. And then P1B member of international recognized entertainment group. So this is common too, because a lot of people come here to perform. And then P2 performer under if there is an exchange program. Okay, and then we have R1 temporary religious workers. This one I talked about yesterday. I made 2 videos about this R1 non-immigrant religious workers and the qualifications. There's a lot of detail that I've already talked about. So if you go to the website, you can find working in the US for temporary workers. And on the temporary workers, we have a lot, at least 14. Check them out. I talked about the common one, the one that everybody knows. And then, but you can check if you qualify under the other one. So we have at least 14 here. And then we go to permanent worker. That's when we have category, you see. First preference, second preference, third preference, fourth preference, and fifth preference. So we're gonna go over those and let you know what is first preference. First preference is reserved for persons with extraordinary ability in science, art, education, business, or athletics, outstanding professor or researcher, and multinational executives and manager. Okay, they don't need labor certification, so they don't need sponsorship for an employer if they can prove that they have extraordinary ability. I've talked about this EB1 visa before. Okay, it's like a self-sponsored visa or self-sponsored green card. So, and then we have the second preference, EB2. This is for person who are member of the professional holding advanced degrees, or for personnel with exceptionally ability in art, science, and business, advanced degree, EB2. Yeah, you need labor sponsorization, labor certification, unless you can obtain a national interest waiver. We talked about national interest waiver is that you have to show that the job that you have will be in the best interest of the United States. So you ask them to waive that labor certification requirement. Okay, and then we have third preference, EB3. This is reserved for professional skilled workers and other workers. They need labor certification as well. So basically they have to have a sponsor that are sponsoring them to this type of work, and the sponsor has a lot of things to prove. Then we have EB4. That's for special immigrant, which we call special immigrant, and that includes certain religious workers, employees of U.S. Foreign Service Post, retired employee of international organization, non-citizen minor who are world of courts in the United States and other classes of non-citizens. So this is the EB-4. Do you need labor certification? Don't need labor certification, but still, when it comes to religious workers, the petitioner, which is the church or the religious institution, they have to actually sign the petition for you, okay? But it doesn't go to the Department of Labor, which is really good, because the Department of Labor, there's a lot of requirements that need to be met, sorry. And then we have the fifth preferences. That's when you invest. You have a lot of money, 1.8 million or $900,000, and you can invest and create at least 10 full-time jobs in the US. And you don't need labor certification. You just self-sponsor type of permanent work. Okay, and eventually with those permanent work, eventually you can transition to a green card. So this is it. Really just go through it. 20 ways to work in the US as almost 14 as a temporary worker, and then almost 5 as a permanent worker. So go to those two websites. I'm gonna leave the link in the description box. Really try to find out whether you qualify to work under those type of visa. Remember, some other people have to unfortunately waive their unlawful presence if they've been unlawful in the US, or if you have been deemed inadmissible. If you cannot be admitted, if you're outside, still you have to waive that. But again, the purpose of this video was to show you that there are a lot of ways that you can work and stay legal in the US. Okay, please go ahead and subscribe, share, and don't forget to comment below. Let me know what you think, and until next time, I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.